All right, welcome to another man's point of view. I am your host, the Space Luchador, and today we're going to go ahead and explain when I say you have to be more of a man than she is. Now, I'm going to start with a quote, all right? Now, I've already deciphered this quote, but I want you guys out there to decipher it all on your own. That's what makes you actually learn. So, here we go. Men will not look at things as they really are, but as they wish them to be and are ruined. All right. Now remember, it always means two things or a couple of things, right? You have to always think outside the box. 3D chess thinking, right? Now, I got a perfect video for you that basically shows you where we're at today. And then we're going to go ahead and explain one of these puzzle pieces, which is called You Got to Be More of a Man Than She Is.
Pre talk. But what I want to talk about here is guys getting burned to the point that there is no return. It started, I saw this screenshot here. A guy was on Tinder. I guess he's swiping. He had a horrible answer to this woman, but she says, I only swiped right because I wanted to tell you that you're ugly and good luck finding a woman to like you. And he had said, same to you. And she said, oh, I'm sure, sweetie. Tell that to my 400 matches. I have no doubts that she.
All right, so first I have to say, that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Now, we men, right, we're complete assholes. So understand that you taking the victim route does not work because you're a man. So you have to see this example, right? The actually how she went out of her way to say this actually opens the door for you to play chess. Now, remember, all women do moves with a bunch of different, um, what is it called? A bunch of different tactics or outcomes. It's the three-piece combo, which I'll do a video on later. But give you an example, right? She wiped right. She opens up the door for him to give her a good comeback. Instead, he gave her a shitty comeback, which is what this guy's talking about. But even that, you do not take anything personal, right? So let's go ahead and I'll show you what I mean by what his version of what's wrong, and then I'll tell you what's wrong with my version, right?
She has 400 matches. I mean, we know how the swiping game goes. This poor guy, unfortunately, should have said something like, if she said, "I only swipe right because I wanted to tell you that you're ugly," he should have said, "Oh my God, what a coincidence! That's why I swiped right on you," and then see where that took them. You don't just be saying to you that's pretty weak. But the whole point is, what happened? Women oftentimes say men no longer ask us out. Men no longer take us on dates. Men no longer want to pay for dinner.
All right, and that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so what he's trying to say is that this guy's gonna quit, right, the whole game because of this insult slash bullying on the internet, right, of some girl telling him that he's ugly. Spoiler alert: all of us guys are ugly, right? So let me show you. Be more of a man than she is. Women act like men on some things. Now let me show you what I mean, right? They are masters of sacrifice. That right there is why they beat most guys, right? Because let's be honest, the top of the top dogs in the men world are master sacrificers, which means we could sacrifice literally everything, including herself. Now it brings me back to that scene of Thanos, who is, by the way, the only man in the whole what is that in the whole superhero universe, right? When he had to get the Soul Stone, right? Now he goes and gets the now perfect example. Let me show you. He goes right. The Skeletor guy tells him that it's a soul for a soul. It's the only way you could get the Soul Stone, right? Now, what's her name, right? Her so-called daughter. I don't remember her. Gamora. Yeah, there you go. So Gamora's laughing, right? They're like, ah, ha, ha, right? You ain't gonna get this one, Thanos. Thanos don't say a word because he's a real man. he's already contemplating exactly what he has to do, right? So he turns around, he starts crying, right? Not really crying, but a few tears, right? Because this it has to be legit, and that's a whole nother level of understanding. But basically, I don't want you to look at that, right? So he starts crying. Komoro starts laughing, right? Aha, there you go. I don't even believe those crocodile tears, right? And the Skeletor guy basically says, those tears are not for him, right? So there you go. That's well, I guess I didn't explain it, but the tears were not for him. They were for her because he knew what he needed to do, and he wasn't crying. His tears were feeling sorry for her sorry ass. So there you go. That's the difference between a real man and everybody else. So she doesn't believe him. Before she could even react, Thanos threw her ass off the cliff, and he got exactly what he wanted. Why? Because he was able, right, to sacrifice what he loved to get what he wants. That's how it works. Now, it has nothing to do with violence, so don't get it twisted. I'm just showing you that example of what I mean, right? So, if women are masters at the art of sacrifice, then you can see why they're always one up every other guy, right? That's how it works. Or you can take this route, which is the victim route, which will never work because you're not supposed to be a victim. So here, look.
I got a flat tire on the side of the road, and guys, car after car after car kept going by, and no one stopped to help me. This is what happens.
You hear that? You can't. Well, here's the premise. This is why everything falls apart, right? Think about what he just said. So he had a flat tire, and he's sitting there waiting for someone to save him. That shows you the level of man you are, because you're counting on everybody else, which is why you cannot be saved and be a man at the same time. You got to understand that. Now I know it's harsh, it's messed up, shouldn't be that way, right? We should help, we should pack together, right? But it doesn't work. It just doesn't work, and sadly, you ain't going to change it, right? So there you go. But let me see what else he has to say.
To, I mean, there's nothing this guy did to earn this, but she just felt like it would make her feel better to, number one, crush him.
That's the big fallacy. See, he's assuming that it's something to do with her of making her feel better, right? When in reality, no. Maybe something sparked her, right? You got to understand this. If you're gonna learn anything from this video, right, aside the fact that you have to be more of a man than she is, understand that women make chest moves. It's always a chest move. So if she's doing a move, there's a reason behind it. And usually it is to open up the chest game. Now you will understand, right? Or actually, if you see it just logically, it's like, well, clearly she did this to hurt him. But understand, if you really understand what a man is, you can't be hurt, right? Now, if you saw my last video of the spoon, there is no spoon. The only thing that bends is yourself. All right. So if you're getting hurt, it's because that's the level of, I guess you can say, not the spoon, right? Because I don't want to confuse it, but that's the level of guy that you are, right? And failed, you got checkmate from the very beginning. That's what happened to this guy. And now you're quitting. Now I'm gonna play chess no more because now you're taking your ball and going home. Only you got no ball. You're just going home. Which is worse, right?
And number two, take a screenshot of it and then like hash on him, I guess, or post it. Now maybe he took the screenshot just to show a point, but either way, I have. What's the point of doing this? To make herself feel better for crapping on a guy. Well, when you're a guy that's already having hard times in the real world talking to a woman and being comfortable and understanding rejection can be hard, and you say, you know something, I'm just going to go on a dating app and I'll swipe, and that way, I mean, if I get rejected, I just don't know it. I just don't get many matches. And then you get a match and you go, oh, maybe.
All right, that's the premise of why you lose from the very beginning. Because you're doing things half-assed, right? Half-assed. I'm going to repeat it. Half-assed. Meaning you're doing it with fear, which is why you attract this woman to attack your sorry ass. So I'll stop there with him because he has this big ass quote from Bill Burr, right? But let's continue. I don't want to make the video too long. So here we go. Look, they're masters of sacrifice, all right? They are good at saying goodbye and meaning it. Now that's a man's move, a real man. However, they do it all the time, right? Here we go. They make decisions and stand by them. That's a man thing. They fight to win. That should be a man thing, right? No giving up, no exceptions, right? No backing down, which is why a lot of them get killed, basically, right? Because they don't back down, even though they're outmatched, outpowered, out everything from a man. However, they will not back down to a guy that's being, threatening the woman. So there you go. That's why it's be more of a man than she is. However, you must understand the fine line of fighting her and being more of a man than she is. So understand that. Don't it's nothing to do with violence, nothing to do with attacking her, nothing to do with fighting her or competing with her or anything. It's just think about it with what I said. More of a man than she is. I just gave you a few qualities, right? Now I'm gonna give you some more. Right? They are driven in everything they do, right? Even if they're wrong, right? Which they are most of the time, but that shows you the commitment that they're willing, they'll die on the hill, whether they're wrong. It just, because it's not about that, right? Believe it or not, and here's another secret of the universe, I'm gonna give you a freebie. It's really all up to them not being wrong. So, put it this way if they're wrong, but they don't want to be wrong, understand that they cannot accept that they're wrong. But that's a whole nother level, which you're not there yet, right? Okay, I'm going to give you another example. Here we go. They are willing to die, right, on the hill, like I said, to prove that they're right, even though they're wrong. But again, that's the difference, right? It becomes almost like they cannot be wrong. So, in other words, it's almost like a big ass chess move that they're right because they cannot be wrong. Which, again, I don't want to complicate it, but that's a whole nother level, right? Here we go. Where's the other one? So, they seem to not. They seem to not fear death, and that's a big one, right? Because they don't, right? Which gives you the illusion of how not how powerful, but it makes them beat you at a lot of things because it's not that they do not fear death, it's that their pride, right, or in this case, all the other abilities that I told you, kind of defeats the fear of death because they're willing to do or take it to the extreme, which gives you the illusion that they don't fear death or consequence or anything else that they do, which is why they do what they do. Because they don't fear consequence. Because they're not thinking past what you think. But again, that's a whole nother level, right, of understanding. So there you go. Now I will show you how to be more of a man than they are in another video. But I don't want to make it too long. So there you go. That's what it is. You got to be more of a man than she is, right? And they show you the way, right? I just gave you the qualities. There they are. It's kind of like the, what is that? Everybody confuses Chad, right? Or the bad guy. Why the bad guy gets seemingly, it's the same thing but backwards, right? The bad guy seems attracted to the women because they have some of these traits, right? But it's an illusion. That doesn't mean he's the real deal or he's a real man, but rather he don't fear certain shit or can't see past his action. And that's why you get the, oh, he's the real deal, but in all reality, he just, right, he was oblivious to the fact of that his move was gonna get them in hot shit, right? Which is why they end up in shit. And but the point is this, right? That before he ended up there, he attracted the girl because of the illusion of the same shit but backwards. Right? I don't know if I botched the explanation, but let's continue with this guy.
Maybe I'm kind of excited, and she craps on you. You know, these are the kind of things that starts putting guys down the path of, that's it. I'm just not going to date anymore. I'm not going to try anymore. A lot of times this can send guys.
That would be a quitter in everybody's eyes, right? But especially women. So understand that if you're doing this, right, the relationship game, which is chess, that is the worst move you can do, to not play the game at all. And that's the point of this video.
Is right down into, I don't know if you'd say like deep depression, but you might say this sends them off to a pretty bad place. It can really bum out a guy. And so,
But but I can't believe you cannot see that bumming out a guy, that means he's not a man, right? And it proves her point in the long run. And there's nothing worse to a woman. I have it here in my book. I don't think I wrote it here at the very bottom. Okay. Here's one of the biggest aspects of a woman. Okay. To comprehend this and understand this would lead you in the path of learning what I'm trying to tell you. Check this out. They hate weakness. And they have no mercy for it, which explains everything that he's saying, right? That's why they're cruel. They're cruel. And the more weakness you show, the more crueler it's going to get, right? Because believe it or not, they're not attacking you. And I know it's hard to understand, and it's hard to believe, and it's hard to comprehend. But to understand that they are not attacking you, they're attacking your weakness is one of, and I should have made a video of that. I'll probably do that one next. I'm gonna write it down because I forget. But that's what it is. It's the difference between, right? They either attack you, the person, right, or your weakness. Now nobody sees this. I do, which is why I'm explaining it to you. Right? Now what's the difference? Right? I want you out there in TV land to understand. You and your weakness. Two different things. However, right, it is your weakness ultimately. So if a woman is going to attack your weakness, right, and you're over here, which is behind you, but you carry your weakness in the front, she's still attacking you, whether it's in the back or in the front. I don't want to complicate it, but the point is, she ain't attacking your sorry ass. She's attacking your weakness because that's where you would attack if you're trying to take this guy down, right? Which ultimately is the man. But it's for the purpose of the shit test. Now I know, right? I'm explaining it like willy-nilly because it's easy to me, right? I understand it perfectly now, right? I have this comprehension, and to me it comes like this, naturally. Natural. It's like doing math, right? A mathematician. That's how I see it. Just so simple. But understand the difference. She's attacking your weakness, not you. So you can't take it personal because you're the weak, right? This weakness is your fault, right? So you can't blame the attacker of the weakness because that's her job. Your job is to not have this, or at least carry it on your back where it can't be seen, right? As another tactic. But anyways, I want to go off on that. Hopefully I explained real quick being more of a man than she is. Now, to go back to the quote, and I was going to do the Bill Burr thing, but it's really crappy. I'll sum it up for you. It's Bill Burr doing his rant about, before he got married, of course, on how he's truly free because he's old and doesn't have a woman, right, or married. But in the end, we all know, 2022, Bill Burr, sellout, got married, right? And now he's acting like he's the big, perfect husband and perfect father. So there you go. Everything he said is irrelevant. But let's go back. Men will not look at things as they really are, but as they wish them to be, and are ruined. Now, here's the part I want you to decipher. Two things are ruined. And just like I explained, just how I explained your weakness and the man, right? Two things. two things are ruined in the quote, which I want you to decipher, right? If you're even interested in any of this, right? But there you go. Now I'm gonna show you, and I'll end with this, right? Unless you guys are want to know the Bill Burr thing, but I guess I'll put the Bill Burr as I look for my thing.
This is the
Let me
guy that
show you. There it is.
I'm going to leave you with the wonderful words of Reverend Bill Barr, Bill Burr.
Couldn't even say the name right, Bill Barr. It goes to show you right there. That's how he knows his stuff, right? Well, I ain't attacking the Better Bachelor. He's just perfect. He makes some of these videos perfect for me to use. Right now, where is it? All right. Well, I'll find it. Bear with me. Speaking of Bill Barr, bear with me. All right, now let's see. Where the hell is it? Sure enough, I had it. All of a sudden, I can't find it. Now, I do have this in the top of my head. That's why, all this stuff is hard. So I got to write it down so I don't forget. Right? And then when I write it down, you do forget, right? But that's why you wrote it down. So, so it comes back to you once you see it, right? But anyway, that's my own thing. So let's go with this while I'm looking for it. Okay.
Great quote of his, and I think this sums up for some of you guys that worry about dating and all that stuff. And I think this is a great way how guys that are bachelors now think. He says, "Dude, I'm gonna tell," and I have to skip a lot of words because he curses a lot. So, dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're a single guy in your mid 20s, and I'll add this to mid 30s, and I'll add this to mid 40s or mid 50s. If you're a single guy in your mid somethings and you live in America and you're living on your own, please drop to your knees and thank whatever God you pray to every day, because you're never going to be freer in your life. I know you probably got student loans and blah blah and the stress and all that BS. F it, okay? You're never going to be freer in your life.
All right, here we go. So you heard that, right? So he's saying that you're never gonna be free if if you're married or something like that. But that goes to show you the difference between a man and a guy. A guy that is married and thinks he is no longer free goes to show you the level of man he is. A real man knows whether you're married, whether you're whatever, you are free ultimately, right? Understand that. Well, so let's continue with that.
Dude, you have to do in this life what makes you happy. If you try to make other people happy, that's all you're going to do, and you're not going to be happy, and then you're going to be miserable to be around. You're going to turn into a bitter person who didn't do what they wanted to do in life, and no one wants to be around that guy. You've just got to commit to this S, and then realize sleeping on a futon when you're 30, and I'm putting in this for, or 40 or 50 or 60. Sleeping on a futon is not the worst thing. It isn't. You know what's worse than sleeping on a futon at 30? Sleeping in a king-size bed next to an effing woman you're not really in love with, but for some reason married, and you got a couple of kids, and you got a job that you effing hate, okay? You'll be laying there fantasizing about sleeping on a futon. There's no risk when you go after a dream. It's all effing reward. It's going to lead to something good. It always does. There's a tremendous amount of risk to be playing it safe, and that leads to unbelievable levels of regret. Some of you guys know that I was with my ex.
So there you go. Now fast forward, and guess where Bill Burr is? Married, with kids. So there you go. That goes to show you everything that I've been saying. It's like a lot of people say I would do this if I was here, and everything. You won't. You don't know what the hell you're gonna do until you're there. That's another thing, right? So, but anyway, there you go. So here I'm gonna show you how it's done. Act more of a man than she is, or basically be more of a man than she is. You are what you do. Remember everything he's saying and everything that Bill Burr said, right? You are what you do. Skill only gets better by doing it over and over again. All right, now you got to understand the skill of playing chess. You have to continue to play the game. Is the only way you can get good. Now, if you do this, then you are what you do, which is weak, right? Repetition till it becomes a reflect is how you do it, right? Because then when it's reflect, then it's not distinguished from you and the guy, but rather it's now you. But anyway, I'll leave you with that, and we'll end with that for this video, and we'll continue. Look forward to the next Space Luchador video. That shows you the secrets of the universe, right? And the puzzle pieces that you need to become a better chess player. At some point, you're gonna love the game, and you'll be coming up with your little strategy teas, and you'll be like, "Thank you, Space Luchador, because now I get it." Right? Hopefully. So, anyways, if you like, give me a like. If you really like it, subscribe, right, and share. And there you go. Check it out. So decipher the quote that I gave you, talking about two things, maybe even more, right? But that's what it means, right? So let me see where did I leave it. I'll end with the quote. I'll read it one more time. And here we go. Men will not look at things as they really are, but as they wish them to be, and are ruined. So there you go. Decipher that. I'll see you on the next one. Space Luchador out.